Right guys, so this is a Honda 600. So I've only had it a couple of days, but the owner come to me with it. Well, he rang me up. Basically, he said it was in sort of like in between gears or something like that. So it was like he seemed to say that it was locked into a gear. Anyway, when he dropped it off, it was selecting gears fine, and then we got the bike started. I didn't start it. Customer started it. I took it up the road and it felt fine, but obviously there was a bit of concern with the owner. He was like worried that there's something wrong with it, and you know, in his mind he'd already decided that it's going to need an engine rebuild. So when he rang me up, he was like, how much is it for an engine rebuild? So what's the plan? So the plan is I'm going to start it up for you, and then I'm going to show that I'm going to do it on the stand so you can see that it's going through the gears, hopefully, and then we're going to take this cover off. Now, according to the owner, it's had an engine rebuild before he bought it, so it's got pictures and things like that. So I don't really know to what extent the rebuild, you know, what level it went to, but I can see, you know, there's black silicone on the crankcase halves. These covers have been powder coated, so it has had some work done to it. It's a fairly nice bike actually. So he did admit that when he got it, he's done an oil change on it, and because it's a new bike, he was a bit concerned with the amount of metal particles that was in the oil. And then when he contacted someone, I'm not sure if it was the previous owner, they said, you know, it's basically running in, so you'd expect something. Anyway, so we're gonna fire it up, hopefully, go through the gears on the stand. I know it's going to be jerking about, so it won't look very cool. Go through the gears up and down. I'll try and talk you through that. I've already ridden it up and down the road, so I know that it goes through all the gears, goes down the gears, and then if there's no issues, we're still going to take this cover off. So I've got a new gasket, I've got an oil filter. I said to the guy, you know, really there's nothing wrong with it, do you want me to have a look at it further? So he's happy with me just taking this cover off, just to make sure that everything's there, nothing's broke, and then we can have a look at the oil and whatnot and see if it actually is a good engine rebuild. It's a bit of a beast to try and start. So I did actually get it started myself, but it's got a manual decompressor. It's kickstart, obviously, no electric start on this. So we'll give it a go. So with a lot of these big singles, it's like a technique that you just develop, don't you, when you've got one of these. So switch the fuel on, choke's on as far as it'll go. So we'll probably start it, well, like I say, I'm going to try and start it. Just want to make sure I'm not going to fall off. You get it to top dead center and then just release it on the decompressor just past top, get the kickstarter right to the top, and then give it a good bootful. Try not to turn the throttle as well, because they don't really like that, big singles. be a bit hear me over this racket, but first gear, second, third, fourth, fifth, so I think it's in fifth. Let me just go through 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's in neutral. First gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. Oh, sixth gear. It's got 6 gears. I didn't realise. Right. No key, just a kill switch. Right, so I've established that it's got 6 gears apparently. I didn't realise that. Huh. Anyway, so it goes through the gears. I mean, it's pretty clunky, but nothing other than a bit of a clunky gear shift. Obviously when it's freewheeling like that, it does vibrate and rattle around a lot, but it's not that bad on the road. So the next plan, as I said, we're going to take this cover off and just have a quick inspection really. So the owner's already put in some fresh oil, so we're going to lean it right over, turn the fuel off. Might have a little crack at it trying to start it hot, because what do they start like hot? I'm quite interested. It's quite loud, isn't it? Okay, yeah. Does everything work on it? Lights? Got a brake light. Headlights on. It's got a LED parking light. Oh, it stinks. Smells like it's burning something, but it might be this heat shield stuff. Throttle's a little bit sticky. It's mega hot, but anyway, it's air cooled, isn't it? So what do you expect? Right, I'll just drink my tea and then we'll lean it on its side. That's the sketchy bit. Get out. Never know where the handlebar's going to go, do you? Right, are we leaking petrol? Hopefully that's just a little bit of extra fuel out the carb. Yeah. It's having a little wee at the moment. See if I can find a cloth. Oh, it stinks. Right. Hope we don't have to take this brake lever off. I think we might have to. Oh, at least it's only held on by a pin. So, fuse tools. Bet that's going to be in the way, isn't it? It's got a piece of copper in the brake lever mechanism. So I'm going to have to take that off. Just used a normal bolt for the brake lever. Fantastic. Powder coating's so thick I can't get this off. Ooh. Genius. Take the brake master off just to get the clevis off. Oh, it's really tight. When you get stuff powder coated, just take off any excess that's creates a tight spot. Makes sense, doesn't it? So there's a little bit of the pins got some weird markings on it. It's like a step in there. Anyway, could do with some grease, I think, on reassembly. So we've got studs on the bottom and then bolts everywhere else. Now there is an oil line here as well. If it looks funny on camera, it's because I'm using a fisheye lens for this. Bit short on space in the garage. So, over the years I haven't worked on many XR bikes. The 125 I've worked on a couple. But the bigger ones, the 400, did they have a 250 and a 300? Or was it just a 300? I thought maybe it's just a 400 actually, but the 400, I don't know if I've ever worked on a 600, but they're pretty much the same, aren't they? It's a big brute of an engine. What is a bit concerning is this bolt is like very not oily, if you know what I mean. to something that should have oil flowing through it. It's very, very dry. You see that? Normally when you take these out, just a little bit of oil comes out. So let's see if there's much oil in this cover. Oh, it's stuck. I hate when stuff's stuck. It should be flush against the surface. Well, there we go, we're going to... Ooh, oh crap, oil everywhere now. Another towel. So it has got oil in it at least. Whoa. So we'll keep an eye out for any odd things. Any oil particles. Doesn't look too bad. I think this will be fed from the inside out, so you might not see any dirt in the actual filter, but the oil's fairly clean. There's quite a bit of it in there, so might have to lift it up just to get it to drain down that hole, but then it might not go anywhere actually, because there's a huge pump. Nothing too sparkly. There's a few bits and pieces in the bottom, little black bits. Anyway, we'll take this big cover off and that might reveal something. Okay, so might just get a little bucket in case more oil comes out. Oh, there we go. It's coming. The old one. It's coming off the dowels. There we go. Oil lines in the way again. Hot exhaust. Right, that's out the way. Over the kickstart shaft. And away. Okay, so we're in. I'll just put this down somewhere. Right, is that better? Can you see what's going on? So what we're looking for really is anything down here in that area. So I might be able to reach gear shifter. So the only thing you can see on it is the I'm not sure what they call it. Basically it's the end of the selector drum, and that basically you've got positions for each gear. So at the moment we're in neutral, so it's in that sort of valley of the star peak. If we put it that way, it'll be in first gear because that's like a stop. And then it'll go around, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it's 5 speed. Not 6. Must have miscounted. But just from a quick glance, there's not much to worry about. Doesn't look that bad in here. That's tight. The clutch looks pretty decent. So we'll check these. Make sure they're not loose. I might have to take this clutch off just to see. Yeah, that's loose. I think that should be tight, but I might be wrong. So I'll take this clutch. Oh, you can't see that, can you? So what I was doing there, basically checking all these bolts, and there's a little bit of movement there, and the basket's actually got some like lateral movement. So I'm going to whip these clutch bolts off and have a look at that main nut. That might be what was causing it, but other than that, I can't see any sort of signs of damage. Cam chain, is that loose? Not particularly tight, but that's your pickup coil, that's the electronics. This nut is not loose. That's the main drive for the clutch. So you can actually see the main bearings through there. That feels pretty good. There's a little bit of movement, but it's a ball bearing at the end of the day, so you will have a bit of clearance. Yeah, we'll whip this clutch off and have a look at that nut. That might just be a little bit loose. Other than that, I can't see anything that would explain why he had a lock-up. Maybe he misshifted or something and it went in between gears and didn't like it or something. There's the clutch plates. Not brand new, but they're not in bad order. Smells like it's got mortal oil in it. I don't know if it's just me, but you can sort of... Mortal's got a very distinctive smell. Right, so the locker nut is severely damaged, but the nut appears to be tight, so the outer basket, although it's got some movement in and out, I think that's perfectly normal. And you can see that it has got a bit of slop in the dampening, so they've got rubbers in the back of these clutch baskets on a lot of bikes. So the rubbers have gotten a little bit of slop in them. But the clutch basket is quite decent actually. So I think that nut is probably tight, but I think it's worth just checking it. See where the lock and tab is, I don't know if you can see that. So the lock and tab is basically non-existent, so I'll get a socket and see if it's tight or not. Tighten it first and see if it goes anywhere. I'd say it moved about a couple of degrees, so it wasn't properly tight, but wasn't loose either. Yeah, it hasn't moved a great deal, but it would be good to have a new nut, wouldn't it really? But it wasn't the problem anyway, that wasn't loose. I don't know whether it's worth just pulling it off. Should we just pull it off and have a look? I think it's got a loose spoke as well. Smells loose. Right, let's just remove this nut and have a good look behind it. Might as well. Right, so yeah, it's got one of these bevel washers, which is on the right way around, because they write on, so you can't get it wrong really. So that's the cush drive, if you like. I think it's a cush drive, isn't it, that's rattling the springs. They're not rubber actually, they're actually springs. So what was I talking about? Well, some engines have rubber dampers, even the big ones. So SV1000 I think's got rubber dampers. It's the Kickstarter shaft. I'm just looking at the gearbox bearings really, but there's no movement on them. I'm a bit hesitant about pulling the Kickstarter shaft out because I know it's a pain in the, you know, to get the spring back in sometimes, so I might just leave that. The Kickstarter mechanism, obviously it works, but and I've even marked on there which side to put, which way around that goes on. That's nice of them. So the trying to think now. I think that's the same on a lot of bikes. They put the Kickstarter connecting gear, which is what you call it, the Kickstarter reducing gear onto the output shaft. So this is the output shaft of the gearbox. This is the input shaft, primary and secondary. There is quite a bit of movement on that bearing, but I mean, I don't think it's going to cause too much concern. And this, I'm just touching this, the bolt for that star wheel. Just giving everything a once over. Oh, is there a bolt missing? No, that's a dowel. I'm just looking at the oil pump. Ah! Is that supposed to be like that, or is that missing something? Christ. No, that's how it's supposed to be. Holy heck. Fair enough. There's nothing that actually holds that on. Didn't know that. So that is the oil pump gear, so there's no retainer to hold that in place. It's held on by the case, so you can see there it's obviously rubbed against the aluminium housing. Didn't know that. Yeah, I think there's not much else to say really. I think it's alright, so I can't really explain what happened to the owner when he took it for a ride. I think it could have just been a misshift or something like that, or he heard something. Yeah, so what can you say? There's nothing wrong with it really, is there? So I've got myself a new Honda gasket for this. It's blue, so that original one, the one that was on the bike, wasn't original, if you know what I mean. I've also got a new filter. Get it out the bag. Got a new filter and O-ring. Do these come with a new spring as well? It'd be ideal if they did. Comes with instructions as well. Yeah, there's nothing I can see in there that's worrying about. When I put the clutch back on, I'm going to put a good amount of Loctite, I think, on that nut. I would obviously love to buy a new nut for him, but I don't want to leave the bike like this because I won't be able to close my garage door. So I'm going to put this back on and I'm going to put some Loctite on. and obviously there's this bevel washer, which is kind of like a bit of an extra measure of it coming off. Anyway, so we'll put Loctite on, that'll keep that on. Can't see anything else wrong with it. So the oil line, I don't know if I said, but the oil line that goes up to the head, there was a tiny bit of oil on that bolt, so yeah, I think it should have plenty of oil flow up the top. Right, I'll have to end it there, guys. I'll put it back together, and then I think I'll just give it back to the customer. So can't see anything wrong with it. There's nothing like this, there's no metallic parts, no broken pieces. We've checked everything. I'm happy to send this back home, and yeah, I think it was worth doing anyway, just for good measure. For the cost of a gasket and an oil filter, it's worth doing. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.